So minimum wage. We're going to talk about minimum wage, yes. So this is a clip I saw from Tim Pool. He bring my attention to this. So this is Barbara Lee. Barbara Lee. She's a senator. And she wants to push for a $50 minimum wage. Let's hear her commentary. Let's see how she has to say, and I'll give my commentary at the end.
You're calling for a $50 an hour federal minimum wage. That's 7 times the current national minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. Can you explain how that would be economically sustainable for small businesses? You have 60 seconds.
First, let me say I owned and ran a small business for 11 years. I created hundreds of jobs. Benefits, retirement benefits, also health care benefits. I know what worker productivity means, and that means that you have to make sure that your employees are taken care of and have a living wage. In the Bay Area, I believe it was the United Way, came out with a report that very recently, $127,000 for a family of 4 is just barely enough to get by. Another survey very recently, $104,000 for a family of 1, barely enough to get by. Low income because of the affordability crisis. And so just do the math. Just do the math. Of course, we have national minimum wages that we need to raise to a living wage. You're talking about $20, $25, fine. But I have got to be focused on what California needs and what the affordability factor is when we calculate this wage.
Oh my God,
You're calling
that
for
hurt my
a
ears.
50.
Okay, so why 50? Like, I just went on a little tirade there on the, how you call it, on the Federal Reserve, right? So she's talking about, oh, no, cost of living so high. I point to one of the core issues of that problem, why the cost is so high, why things are harder and harder to afford, right? Because of economic policy, modern monetary theory, something that a lot of liberal economists like to believe in. They think that as long as the government is the one printing money, it will have a less inflationary impact on the populace. Obviously, we're experiencing that today, and we're figuring out that that is a lie. And to combat this, instead of saying, hey, let's fix the Federal Reserve, let's mitigate the Federal Reserve, let's rein in the Federal Reserve, let's oversight the Federal Reserve. No. Let's raise the minimum wage to $50 an hour. Now, this is why raising the minimum wage to $50 an hour is a bad idea. Because you're artificially increasing cost, and there's no increased benefit for raising the price unless the business decides what? To raise prices. So you raise, let's say you work in McDonald's, right? You're making $15 an hour, you know? And this lady decides, hey, $15 an hour, we pass it. Overwhelming support. It sounds good. Everyone loves it. But the business owner's like, damn, I only make $20 an hour off this guy's labor. And now I'm negative $30. I have to make up the cost somehow. Easiest way, if he wants to maintain the same workforce, is to increase prices. Who's going to start complaining about prices? The customers, the consumers. And what's going to happen? Less money's going to come in because now it's more expensive to buy McDonald's. And then what happens next quarter? They lose businesses. They're like, damn, we lost customers. Let's say we lost customers by 20%. We lost 20% of our customers because we had to raise our prices to accommodate the increase of our labor cost. What happens? The company becomes less profitable. What happens when the company is less profitable? Investments pull out. And then what happened? We got to lay off some folks. Now these people are going to be complaining. Oh my God, they laid us off. We just made $15 an hour. They're going to think it's malicious, but it's not. It's cause and effect. You weren't like, this is what I'm talking about. Spontaneous order needs to be the principle. This is why I think we need to separate government from the private sector, because the government don't know what it's doing. The government just pulls stuff out of their don't suffer the consequences of their bad choices, because they ain't going to lose a job by passing bad policies. They have to wait before they suffer repercussions for their bad voting. And a lot of Americans are not vigilant enough or know enough to understand the cause and effect. They don't understand the effects of the policies that they push and they advocate for in reality. They just hear, oh, $50 an hour, that sounds good. But then businesses they'll have to deal with that cost, because the government ain't going to pay that cost for them. It's like someone telling you, you make $40K a year, right? And then someone comes up to you and say, hey, I raised your rent to double the price. You go, what? I can't afford that. And then you go, I'm not renewing with you because you just doubled my rent. Everyone's going to look at you and say, yeah, you made a smart choice. But all of a sudden, You do the same thing to businesses. Hey, this thing cost you $20 an hour. Now we increase it to $50 an hour. And if you decide to fire that person will get mad. Oh, why you didn't continue with me? Why you didn't keep me employed? Bro, you raised your prices. It's crazy how, like, we don't think about, we overly focus on what's best for us as individuals. But we don't understand, like, how interconnected everything is really. But I digress.